Hey, we are live. Hang in there, everyone. Very windy day today, so we'll do the best that we can with that. And it starts with a walking stick. So let's get moving. Some creature knocked over this little station that I made. That's red jasper right there. Yeah, last night something wanted whatever was on it enough to knock it over, but I fixed it, so that's good. Off we go to the woods. Get a nice shadow today. Probably going to be doing some shadow work. I've got the windscreen on, so it shouldn't bother us much that there's heavy winds today. In fact, if anything, it'll just be a nice supplement to our ASMR. Welcome everyone, come on in. My name is William. You're looking at my shadow. The shadow of my identity that is William. And William is just a collection of life experiences like anyone else in this world who claims himself to be an identity. We do it all the time. It's how we relate to one another. It's how we build relationships. It's how we record stories into our timelines of life. So I'm not dissing the identity at all. I'm simply stating that as you go through the walks with me, you'll come in to understand that there's something that powers your life experience, whether that's energy to you, the universal subconscious mind, God, Jesus himself, Allah, Allah, Elohim, Abraham, Pachamama, or otherwise whatever religious figure you might believe in. The concept remains the same. Consciousness is fed by a giving, caring life principle that is birthless, deathless, changeless, and immortal. This source knows the means and the way to express life in all things. We, as human beings, are no exception. The exception of our aliveness comes in the form of our tool set. We are granted something unique. Aside from this life, we are granted the nation of images in the mind of God, the imagination. It is boundless. It has no beginning and no end. It is birthless. It has always been. Silent Smile, thank you for the invite. I do not battle with people. I understand there's a big competition coming up. I even got a message from someone today saying, are we battling tomorrow? I am unsure. Those are 3 very fast traveling jets. And I mean fast in formation. That's an unusual thing. That is unusual and very loud. So as the winds of change are upon us on this day, we come into being. We come into the role that does not have a role. We come into spectator mode, the mere observation of a life experience unfolding before you. Care Bear says, hello everyone, happy Friday. And so what we do is we have these exchanges. Hi, I'm William. I'm an identity. My aliveness is given by consciousness. That may sound strange. because it is strange. Strange to think that we are powered by something when we thought ourselves to be the end-all be-all of everything all along. Lo and behold, there are situations happening before you and within you that come not from this world. I don't mean they come from another country or another planet or some alien source. No, this source is not at all alien to you. The source of life, consciousness itself, is you. So start to digest that. As you look at my new beautiful leather jacket that will eventually get a promotional video. We're going back to the 80s bomber jacket, folks. It's back. It's in. The 80s bomber jacket, you can take this out, get yourself into some rain and into some trouble. And this 80s bomber jacket takes you right into the land of Blade Runner. People want big bomber jackets now. They want faux leather because faux leather actually looks good and feels good now. Yeah, pretty cool. That's style. You see? It's a narrative. Narrative style. All right, let's get to the thick. Now that we're coming into being, the sun is still high, which is good. And it's bright. I'd like to get some of it, as a matter of fact. So we'll do some sun gazing at the peak of this hill. I'll tell you a bit about its effects, and then we can come into being together as observers of aliveness in coherence. And from that coherence, we can start to work with the imagination, flex our daily footprint in the Garden of Eden that is our wish-fulfilled center of being, and send those messages out to the subconscious as patterns. Patterns which are recognized as orchestrated, organized, objective, and ready to be reduced from a unified field into our reality. Patterns. So that's what we'll be doing. That's what we do every day. And like I said before, whether it's overcast or bright sun, as we have this afternoon, we always have a takeoff and we always have a landing. These last 2 days, the recordings have been, for lack of better words, lost because I have carried out until the end of the battery. It's very fun to be able to exchange comments and things. However, I need to start preserving these chats so that we can all feel more involved. This isn't so much a complaint as much as it's objective. In case anyone asks where the recent posts are, the last 2 days are unique in that they will not be archived. They're also very special days. One happens to be my birthday, and the other yesterday, it turns out, was quite a revealing day. I'll show you part of this reveal right now. And I brought my light in case we were to look at stones with more intensity. Let's just get on this. This was found yesterday. This is a worked spear point for sure. It is made of sacred 7 amethyst. It is transparent quartz with seven different types of quartz, cryptocrystalline and regular quartz crystal within this. And you can see that it has been worked. You can see that it's been carved on the edges and formed into a point. It's as sure as the point from Assassin's Creed, if you ask me. And yes, this is a simulation. We are in, what was it called? The Animus. So this point was revealed yesterday. How it is found in this area, that it is sacred 7 amethyst, 1, which is only believed to have been found in Brazil in a now defunct mine that has been flooded, and the only other location would be India. How it ended up here in Connecticut is beyond my understanding. However, I am open to the idea of manifestation. Yes, I am. Are you? Are you open to the idea of something impossible appearing as if out of the blue in your life? Good. Divinely Chosen believes. This is good belief to have. Once we start to understand how things manifest with greater depth and understanding, the concept behind it will reveal to you that this has always been here. This transparent stone has always been here. It's always been a possibility. It's always been a possibility, and it's always been here. This goes for all things, all situations, all relationships, all success, all wisdom and knowledge, and all abundance falls into this camp, this category. It's always with you. So let's talk about this, and then let's talk about how we give away our power, not as a guilty thing, not as a challenge to anyone. The only people who I'm challenging, if you find it challenging, are the ego selves that we've built up over time. I don't want them to be around because they don't really resolve things. Instead, I want them to just be subservient to you. I want your identity to be subservient to you. Now, do you get it? You are the aliveness, the intelligence that sustains your body. You are the aliveness and the intelligence that gives you access to the imagination. You are, in effect, the breath of your body, the food that you eat and eliminate, the cells that you recycle, and the atoms within, having subatomic exchanges every nanosecond of your life in a present-based activity called God's manifold expression, otherwise known as the now, the present. Of course, the present is a gift. The present is a gift. You step in to your present moment, you observe your aliveness, and you heal. You heal and you expand. You upgrade and you download the things that are required for your wish-fulfilled state of being. TJ has a bamboo stick. That's good, TJ. You can be like Donatello from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now. All you have to do is live in the sewers in New York City and have a rat as a master, and probably consume a good amount of gamma radiation at the same time. Cool. Tell me more about that bamboo stick there. I have a stick too. Though I think of myself more like Splinter, the rat himself, or perhaps even better, the aliveness that powers him. That's the game I like to play. I like to believe big, grandiose things, like I am the aliveness that feeds the identity that is William Vincent Carlton. Sounds very strange. But still, I like strange dreams. I like strange dreams, TJ. Papa gave it to me. Cool. Cool, TJ. Nice fish. Looks like a nice fish. I'm assuming Papa would be your biological father. I'm assuming TJ is your identity. And I'm assuming this light is what's made it all possible. They are assumptions. I could be wrong. You could be from another planet, not born here, and decidedly reptilian. In that case, we should have David Icke here on the show to reveal to us more of your truth. But if you are human, welcome. Welcome to your aliveness. Welcome to the walking stick was created by you, delivered to you, from you, as a result of your Papa making a decision to bring you into this world as a form of conception. And as you come into this life experience with your walking stick made of bamboo, or perhaps your bow staff, however you fashion it, as you come into being even further in these great free lessons offered to you through your phone screen via TikTok, you will find there's something more than just things that are given to you from the outside. That in truth, you've given them to yourself. Just as you've given yourself the power to write something, to comment into view. Now, what I would like us all to do, if I can have a request, if I could ever ask of things, it's not for likes, it's not for follows, and it's not for donations. It's for you to promise me that you will never give me your power by telling me that I am the solver of your problems. I really pray that you never say, I'm the one who helped you. I would much rather read, I am helped through an infinite source of power, which has always been me in truth, that I am now loving more than I love my identity, which I loved erroneously for way too long, as my God. Everything outside of me that I loved erroneously for too long as my God as well is included in that. I come into my kingdom, and I do not give my power to anyone. That would be the greatest gift. The greatest form of compliment would be to read such things coming from people in the comments. I am in my power, I observe my aliveness, I am alive, and I am wish fulfilled. I am in my perfect state of being, and if ever it appears other than that, as somewhat distorted, I know it's only illusion, and that I only need to step into the narrow gates through and into my imagination, to bathe in the Christ consciousness, the oils of my salvation, that it come to me instantaneously without any sort of delay or hurdles involved. I simply arrive. And in this arriving, I am anointed, given my own personalized kingdom to expand or contract, add to or subtract, but wear this crown as my own, as king of this domain. Or as a female, you may be a queen of this domain. It's all the same. It's your dominion. How you decide to work that dominion, whether you work it into lack or work it into abundance, is your free choice. It always has been, and it shall always be. Anka says, yes, everything I need is within me now. This is a beautiful, courageous thing to say. Why it is courageous is because it challenges Anka's identity and formulates it or places it in a stature or position to where it no longer has any say over the manifestation of Anka's life and life experiences. Because the kingdom of heaven truly is within. It is the imagination, it is Christ consciousness, and it is the anointment that you receive every time you consciously are aware of it existing. So when you step into the imagination, you're aware of it existing. And when you become your wish-fulfilled self, you're exercising your right to be king or queen of your heaven within. This kingdom of heaven is not of this world. It is the creator of its expression. The kingdom of heaven within you is not of this world. It is the creator of what you see before you. This is why Jesus of Nazareth said, yes, my kingdom is not of this world, but it is in the midst, in the middle of all things. Consciousness cannot be contained. It cannot be a thing. It is a life principle which enhances the life of what it works through. It seeks to expand and it seeks to heal. It is a caring life principle by default. That is its programming language, working in unison and harmony with you. You are welcome to use it for disharmony. You are welcome to plunge yourself into the void of chaos and disorder. You are welcome to trespass on the lives of everyone outside of you, and you are more than welcome to plunge yourself into a victimhood role where you feel yourself to be attacked by the world before you that you have created. It is all your right to do so. What I say is, it takes a whole lot of exercise of power, and I mean a lot of power, to be able to program a life principle into believing that you are in lack in some way. It takes a remarkable amount of strength, courage, and power, and surrender to external circumstances to make yourself out to be a victim and a slave in this world, the game of life. It requires so much effort, so much energy. It requires all of your vital essence, and it requires the misuse of your imagination to create time for it to perpetuate without ever stopping. So congratulations if that's the world you live in. You have used your conviction to create problems in your life in a perpetual cycle. You have exercised your power in the way that you have truly desired, unless you believe you have not done this knowingly. If you believe you have not done this knowingly, then welcome to your salvation, not from me, but from you. I'm simply giving you a manual of life. This manual of life can be read and adhered to, and your salvation comes faster. But in truth, that's the salvation outside of yourself that you want, the physical changes. They come through this practice, but they are not the first change that you experience in the practice of loving yourself. In truth, seeing yourself come into care. No longer count on the things outside of yourself with expectations. Those go away. Listen to the winds of change on this day. If you're here, you've arrived. If you're not here, pray someone shares it with you. The iteration of my life experience as William Vincent Carleton at this moment in time is one who has survived all the perils. They're no longer being invited into his life. There might be momentum to show me some scary sequences or what have you. And who knows, I could be crushed before you in an instant. But the bottom line is I continue, and I have that conviction, and I have that as my affirmation every day. I do not die. Not in the traditional sense. So this is the last time I play the game of life. As far as it goes with incarnation, my life here as William Vincent Carleton is one who has won the game. I'm proud of him, the little guy, because he went through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, and now he realizes that he is pure spirit. He always has been. He always will be. And so now he is in the custody of a caring life principle. I would only want this for you. If I could want anything, thank you for that, Tyler, for the heart me and the heart puff. I would want all of you to come into your own kingdom. Amanda Banks, thanks for following. Welcome. Saul T-Storm, 83, thanks for following. Alicia, you too. Nice to see you all, folks. Jessica Ortiz says, beautiful. Thank you, Jessica. It's a kind thing to say. Anka already makes this known. Let's give it another pin because it's important. Everything I need is within me. So let's talk about what need is. Need is just another way of organizing your prayer. It's something that you want. A need is a want, right? So if you know what you want, then we can go and ask for it. And the way that we ask for it through the game of life in this manual that I'm telling you about today, which works, is you can't go to some place of prayer. I'm going to tell you what not to do first. I'm going to tell you what everyone does with their prayer, and I'm going to tell you what not to do. Not everyone, but most people do it this way. First of all, there's a feeling of lack, and this is by no means a criticism towards anyone who ever comments here. It's just a story. Please. Pretzel says, I have returned. The pretzel has returned. Everyone have a pretzel. It's on pretzel. Most of us pray like this. We go to a place of prayer, a gathering place, and we already have a feeling of lack rushing through the body. It's either a bill hasn't been paid, someone hasn't spoken to me who I need to talk to, the job hasn't come in, the sales haven't occurred, the answers haven't come, or they appear to be getting worse from what once was stable. Whatever it is, the feeling that's coming into the prayer session is one of a profound no. It's this feeling of lack or scarcity, that something is not where it needs to be in the right place for wish fulfillment to be felt in truth. So what we do, most of us, is we piggyback off of that concept and that idea. We start to go into the imagination and we start doing the what ifs. The what ifs include, well, if I don't do this, then, which is an if then, but what if this happens, then what will happen to me? What if I don't do this, then what will happen? Or what if so-and-so does something, then what will happen? And if I do this, then that, and if I don't do that, then so-and-so, who I thought about might be doing this, what if that happens? And what if it happens right away, like before I know it, before I can expect to be prepared? I mean, the last time this happened, it happened so quickly. I wasn't prepared for it. And now I'm really scared that it's going to happen this way again because I just don't know what to do if it does. This is most prayer. This is most preparation for prayer for people. We come into this feeling of lack. We already have the story fully built. We've tied in most of the things that we've experienced since we woke up in the morning to this very story. And it's now become the narrative of our lives. Over a course of period of time, it becomes something that we entertain. Then it becomes something that we enjoy. Then it becomes a habit. And then it becomes our personality. And then it becomes our identity. That's how it happens. Our identity becomes something outside of me needs to be the salvation because something outside of me is the cause of this problem. So not only is the outside world the cause of the problem, something outside of you has to be the salvation as well. Can't come from you. The problem can't come from you, and the salvation can't come from you. And the reason why this happens is because the ego self has never seen the imagination. It is built off of it. Because our identity is built off of our imagination of accumulating life experiences in an archive in our DNA, it only knows those feelings. And what it's going off of to give us suggestions, to entertain things, comes mostly from what we've experienced as pain in order to avoid it. So most of our no-based situations start with us wanting to avoid something that is painful. And how do we do that? Well, we think that we're solving it by somehow thinking about it more and creating situations in the future that likely will never happen in order to somehow solve this problem. And so you can see what's happening here. We are feeding a monster that is outside of ourself, which is already the result of our own thoughts. To believe, as a phantom, it has the solution to our problems. It's insane. It's total insanity, and it's okay. Dank Main is asking, what are your thoughts on pizza? Dank Main, there's sometimes when you come in here and you say really nice things, and then there are sometimes when you come in here and you say some things, and when I think about them, I think to myself a number of things. One, it could be totally off, and we can put lots of energy into this too, so I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. I could say this is a benign question, but if you were actually working for one of the 3-letter agencies, you could have watched my internet activity last night and seen that I watched a whole documentary on Pizzagate. That's right. And if I said enough about it, someone could actually report me. And if they reported me, it could possibly get me banned, which would cut off my income source to TikTok as an employee of TikTok selling affiliate marketing products to people. All of this goes through my head in a matter of 3 to 5 seconds when I read, what are your thoughts on pizza? How would you answer? I love pizza. I'm really good at making it. I used to have a pizza truck. And this isn't a hidden, message within. because when we hear pizza nowadays, it can mean anything, right? Isn't that what happened? It can mean anything now. So it's been culturally appropriated to question when it's used on the internet, along with a number of other key words that really, if we were to unveil it all, would be quite disturbing. You would go back and watch, if you've already seen it, the movie The Goonies, and you could say, wow, right in the beginning, I'm seeing the flames of hell burning on the street, criminals being released into society. There's a large police chase, and a very innocent, young, fat-ish child who only is allowed into the house if he does the truffle shuffle, shows his skin and his belly and jiggles like that. Of course, he's underage. But before we see that character, arrive at the house and have to do the truffle shuffle in front of Corey Feldman, who has his own stories to talk about when it comes to pizza and ice cream, you see that very character himself squeeze a milkshake and a big piece of pizza right against the window. As all of this is unfolding and the credits of the movie itself haven't even completed yet, it is made apparently clear what Richard Donner was trying to communicate in his beautiful movie, The Goonies. Of course, I find it very interesting or entertaining as well, beyond all of the sexualized innuendo used in the film, that we now come to a place of calling an addiction to masturbation gooning. I find that very interesting. Where did that come from? It's my mom's favorite piece. Go watch that scene. It's my mom's favorite piece. You should watch it. Dankmane says you need to go on a podcast. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dankmane, and I appreciate you asking me about my thoughts on pizza. Honestly, that's the whole answer. I watched Pizzagate last night. I understood it to be highly satanic, extremely disturbing, and I don't even know what to do about it other than not entertain it. I'm just imagining every child being free. I'm imagining every child being safe and protected so that I do the good that only God can do. I have to put that into the hands of a higher power. How about you guys? If you were to watch that documentary on X, it's like an hour long. It shows you everything that's going on and how sick this world is, how perverted and disgusting this world is. Some of the people who decide to play the game of life are truly perverted and sick. And there needs to be major intervention. It has to be immediate. And it is. It is immediate. If you don't think you see it now, boy, you've only seen the appetizer. I know. You probably wonder if it's the main course. This year is going to be a year of years when it comes to the prosecution of those who have done illegal things, especially things against children. We're just ramping up. Just ramping up. So that's my thought on pizza. The documentary is called Pizzagate. And I found it on X last night, about an hour long. And it doesn't show any disturbing images in the film. And some of the things that were researched in the film, if you decide to do by yourself, will actually be an illegal activity. So I suggest you just watch on X and don't do anything beyond that, just for the sake of trying to confirm whether or not these things are in fact true, can place yourself into a situation of potential litigation and arrest. It is that revealing. Red Sonia 74 says, X, you mean the old Twitter? Yeah, I do. Yes. However the story is for us. Julie King says amen. Neon Pickle, thanks for the live creator. Dank Main says, me personally. What's up, Costas? It's good stuff. Little Cuttlefish. Pretzel says, no, don't eat me. Okay, Pretzel. You're safe, Pretzel. Pretzel's safe. Moonbear says, I don't understand. Looking it up can put me in possible litigation. No, Moonbear. Looking up the things that are suggested in this film, Pizzagate, can place you into situations of litigation. So there's a videos section now that you can watch. This is also in response to Red Sonja. There's a video section that you can watch on X now where it just scrolls like YouTube. So I was watching all this stuff going on with like transference of power and the deputy director, Dan Bongino, coming into power now and is like the second of command in the FBI. And then Kash Patel being the director of the FBI, the 9th director of the FBI. These are major dynamic shifts because these guys, I mean, let's just talk about it. It doesn't mean that retaliation is on the plate. But these are guys who are seriously fucked with for a long time. And now all the documents are being revealed. Pam Bondi's going through all of them as Attorney General. We have a lot of just looking through paperwork, and basically it's like there's going to have to be litigation because there's so much illegal activity going on. There's been embezzlement in the trillions of dollars, which is speculated at this point in time. Of course, all of this is speculative. But there's been so much theft of American taxpayer dollars in a number of ways, including Social Security as a big one. And then, of course, all the documents that have to do with the Epstein travel logs, which all that it requires is, so a lot of redacted statements just need to be unredacted, need to be made available. And so there's hundreds of documents with redactions. All you have to do is unredact whatever is covered. And at that point in time, it's going to be a total global collapse of the powers that be. So I wonder if that's what's the big issue right now, is trying to figure out when do we drop this significant, info thing upon society. What will this mean for us, for our families? I mean, if you don't think that Kash Patel and everyone involved coming in isn't putting themselves at risk in some way, I mean, they're in the belly of the beast right now. They're in the middle of the bee's nest and they're trying to figure out when the right time will be to fire a slingshot at this thing, knock it off its hinges so that it explodes on the ground and somehow everyone can get out of this safe, aside from the hive itself. So, yeah, this documentary that I saw last night was like, okay, this is pretty revealing. I had suspicions before, and now it just kind of confirms a lot of the things that have been talked about that really surfaced during the COVID pandemic. We saw a surfacing of information and a huge spike in conspiracy theory. It just started to go wild right around that time in 2019. And I don't think that it's coincidence. I think it's a matter of when you start to see a global shift of restriction of life. We saw a restriction of life to where we were basically in solitary confinement in our homes. This was for 3 years' time, minimum. Children were cut off from their friends. Family members were cut off from one another. Our facial expressions were cut off from one another, literally covered up. All the nonverbal behavior that we would otherwise pick up from the face, we were no longer seeing. And I went into this and I started reading about this early. Like in 2020, I wanted to know, what is the impact of an individual in solitary confinement for just a month? What happens to their cognition if they're not seeing other people, if they're not moving, if they're not going out, they're not doing anything other than eating and lounging? What happens to this person? And what I found was their psychology or their psychological effects were extreme to where they forgot people's faces. They forgot where they were going. So their ability to locate locations that were otherwise very familiar to them, unable to do that. Not to mention huge decline in overall stability mentally, people feeling depression and anxiety and an increased inflammation of the body. All of these things were happening through these studies where people were studying individuals in solitary confinement. So I thought, okay, if that's happening over a single month, let's say we have additional freedoms on top of that, but they're really not so much free because we can't see each other's faces. We have to be at a distance. We're no longer sharing oxytocin. We're no longer sharing vital communication between ourselves through our physical bodies. So what does 3 years do? And no one has the data because it's never happened before. But we do have the data of people being in solitary for a month as a means to branch off and try to put our heads around this idea of what actually happened. And the reason why I'm saying all of these things is because it was a war against freedom of expression. And when you have a war against freedom of expression, to see one another, to be free to come and go, to be free to say how you wish to express yourself without being shut down immediately, when that happens repeatedly, the human condition starts to forget about its identity because it's no longer allowed to express itself. So the identity no longer becomes important to the aliveness of that person that is observing them. And so they turn to the aliveness, they turn within, start to question the things that are outside of themselves because the promises were being met up until that point when major restrictions were being made. And so you have a guy like me. Let's say 10 years ago, I was extremely liberal, a pushover, even you could call an activist to a certain extent, and wish I was a social justice warrior. And I was constantly out there talking about how to appropriately speak to people, how to appropriately manage situations that would be uncomfortable based on the color of your skin or other external factors. And I was in the thick of that at a college institution, indoctrinated and indoctrinating children, who I call children, basically students coming in from high school for the first time into college. They're still children as far as I'm concerned. Their brains are still very malleable. Between the ages of 18 and 22 is when the brain is most flexible for coming into new concepts of being. And so I don't think it's a coincidence that all of these really ideological or leftist ideologies or wokeism was being embedded very hard at that time, because it strips away your individuality, at the same time gives you a feeling of hopelessness, and at the same time it also just strips away your desire to discover something that could be beyond just the identity. So the identity becomes God, effectively. Think about it. I mean, everything outside of yourself, if you are at this point in time, and this is not a judgment so much as it's a statement of what I observe behaviorally. Most individuals who claim themselves to be liberal are very sensitive, or what I would call hyper-vigilant, to the environment. So what this means is someone could say something to the hyper-vigilant individual and they could perceive those words as an attack on their self, like a physical attack. And it's getting approximated to that now in universities, that actually words cause damage. Like the pen is literally mightier than the sword because you feel it physically, and if it continues, then there will be a greater threat to one's safety and ability. So you need to have a safe space where only a certain amount of words can be used. Those words have to be specific. And then you're starting to get into 1984 George Orwell nightmare, where people are saying, you know, where doublethink is there, and there's social appropriation of certain things that don't make sense, and it just is a restriction of all life and expression. So everyone becomes one uniform body of slavery. And you see this in 1984. So what I noticed was this was being rolled out very heavily when I was working at a college. This was about, well, now I'm dating myself, but almost 10 years, so 9 years ago. 2015 is when this really ramped up, 2015, 2016. And so over time, what I noticed was, oh, that used to be a freedom I had and I no longer have it. Oh, I can't travel unless I put this thing in my body. And while this was all happening, I was also being told by my ex-wife that I couldn't see my children unless I paid her a certain amount of money. And I was like, okay, that's also a restriction. So that led me to question all these things, because the things that mattered to me were the things I was going to work for. I was going to work to make money so that I could buy into the situations that I wanted to experience more of. But they were being taken away if I didn't pay a certain amount. And that amount was a lot. It was so much, as a matter of fact, that if I paid it continuously, I wouldn't be able to travel to see my children. So I'd be paying into a system that allowed me to see my children, but I couldn't actually afford to see them because of the cost of travel. Isn't that wonderful? So once that happens, someone who's a pushover, someone who has been compliant to all rules and regulations, someone for all intents and purposes who is extremely woke, such as myself, starts to bend in a direction that doesn't feel good. And once you bend enough, you either snap and break and give up on life, or you start to turn against the thing that is trying to convince you that if you keep following the rules, you're somehow going to receive your salvation and receive the benefits that you deserve. And it was a primrose path. It was a total lie. Now, the best part about this was I manifest each and every part of it. Let's get back to this. I manifest each and every part of it by desiring it, by paying attention to it, by feeding it my aliveness. I perpetuated this to the ultimate way, the extreme, to where I lost everything. And I mean everything that I possibly could have said, this is what I can't live without, was taken away and held in front of me on a carrot and stick with no way to get to it. So what it told me was, that was how sinister my thought processes was towards myself, that I was that willing to see myself in a role of victimization to where I would lose all the things that I loved and wanted more than anything else in order to play the role appropriately. I would give up everything that mattered. And so what happens at that point in time, after enough time of realizing that the solution never comes from following the rules in the way that everyone says you have to in order to get access to the things that you truly deserve and you don't get, is you give up on the system. Question it, you give up on it, you start reading about it, and you start learning a lot about what is happening. And the end result is you never go back. You never go back and you never trust it, because you realize that this is something that is created by you from previous life experiences. By taking responsibility over those things, the past, you actually love yourself by saying, I created those things and I'm forgiving myself because I knew not what I was doing. Very big. When you are manifesting things without the awareness that you become what you think about, you are doing something without knowing. That is called unconscious living, according to Eckhart Tolle. So if you are in that place of not knowing what you do, and you are coming into your aliveness and being, the first thing that I recommend you do before anything else is love and appreciate yourself for just being. I mean, just being alive. You need to love and cherish yourself so much, because otherwise you're walking in to a disastrous situation where the inner child has no idea how it ended up where it is and believes you to be the enemy until you explain how loved your child is. So you have to come in contact with your body with love. You have to come into your daily activities with love. You have to shower yourself with the peace and the tranquility that you deserve by God-given right to nourish yourself. And then once you start to heal yourself through that way, after enough walks in the woods, you can start to do some work, some real good work, by visiting the imagination regularly and offering yourself scenarios of total wish fulfillment is a wonderful way to start to reconnect with your truth and being. but to do it with great compassion. Otherwise, as you're coming into these changes, which you will feel physically at first, and then they shall manifest before you in the form of miracles. In the beginning, when you are effectively going turncoat against your identity, anything that it hears about your plans in prayer, it will attempt to sabotage, because it fears its obliteration through that practice. It doesn't know where you are. It thinks you've gone to some enemy base to do some work in conspiring against your identity. Everything that you have built through a feeling of lack, if it is to come into your plans by living in wealth, it will do everything in its power to destroy it. Everything. And so you should be prepared for that. Basically, the way to get around this is you never spill the beans. Not so far as to let everyone know the details. What you can do instead is you can use very powerful affirmations. You can say things like, I am totally wish fulfilled. I'm in my desired state of being right now. And you're not just saying it to your external circumstances. When you say, I am in my desired state of being, you are imagining yourself living from the end with the assumed glory of your wish-fulfilled perfect self. And then you say it. I am living from the end in my wish-fulfilled state. And when an undesirable situation appears, you say, that doesn't move me as much as I am living in my desired state. That doesn't move me as much as I am living in my desired state. SML Lake says, isn't ego an illusion? Two answers to this, my friend. There's the answer that we define as collectors of life experiences. William would say, yes, it's called Maya. It's everything in dualistic nature before us, and it is the life experience that we're having. That would be ego. It's collection of memories in the body, and that it is an illusion. At the same time, you could also say, isn't the ego an illusion as the observer? And at that point in time, you can concur and say, yes, it's a creation of the imagination through the construction of time. And then you could say, does William Vincent Carleton believe himself to be real? Just like SML Lake. And in that case, we would say, yes, the ego is very real. In fact, it is everything. And anyone who threatens it or says that it's not real, I consider my enemy and I will fight them to the death. That could also be. All those things are all possibilities. Sueru says, great day to all with love. Thank you, Sueru. Welcome. Greg says, it took rock bottom for me 6 years ago. I hope others don't have to go through that. This is beautiful, Greg. Thank you for sharing this. And it's because we go through these hardships that we wish not see them happen in others, because we know in truth by loving thy neighbor as themselves. If we love our neighbors as we love ourselves, then what we are effectively doing is we are not trespassing on the kingdoms of heaven within every person. Instead, we are nourishing our kingdoms. So no sense in entertaining feelings of lack or limitation. That is a dangerous territory to go in. It is entertainment, and it is a very dangerous territory. This is a nice stone. If I knew any better, I'd say this is a tourmaline, the way it's pointed. Right on the trail, right on the path here. And you even have, look at this quartz. These are all alluvial deposits. This is another one. This is a clear quartz, as a matter of fact, which I don't see often. But look at the light. That's a clear quartz. Good healer. And then, of course, right here, we got an amethyst. Right out of the blue. It's a heart-shaped one, too. Kind of. Yeah, right out of the blue, right here. All you have to do is pay attention. Pay your attention to the present moment, and these things appear. And they are for you. Who else would they be for if they came from you? So the answer about ego is, we are real as an identity. The ego wants to know this. It wants you to know this. It wants you to believe this fully. Because if it does get you to believe this fully, that the only thing that exists is your identity, your collection of life experiences and memories, and your body, then it can make suggestions to you that you continue down specific pathways, effectively attaching strings to you like a marionette. Oh, there's so many beautiful stones here today. Look at this amethyst. I want to show you another one. They're right on the surface. Let's see if you can see it. You see that right there? That's an amethyst. It could be with more goodies. And then we have this one right here. They're right on the surface. Most of the answers that you need are right on the surface. Gina, thank you for following. Glad you like it, Anka. SML Lake says nature is beautiful. Indeed it is. Let's have a look at this beautiful stone. Oh, it's pointed. And you know, this speaks to something other than quartz when it has this shape. Let's spill some water on it. And you know, I think I see even this could be a quartz that is a biggie. No, probably not. And that's okay. All right, let's get some water on this stone and have a look. Living Free. Thanks for following. Okay. And whomever else followed here, let's get all of you folks. Mary and Angela, thanks for following. This is totally transparent, and this is a pink quartz. That's a pink quartz. Or it could be a rubellite tourmaline. Very nice. Right on the trail. Living Free, thanks for following. James D. Treat, thanks for following. Darcy, thanks for following. Amy in Wonderland, thanks for following. All of you people coming in, welcome. Welcome to the show. There, you see that pink hue? It's slight, but it's there. That's a nice rose quartz. This is a love stone. This attracts love. Puts you in that phase. Gets you into phase with love. Very nice. Very nice. Peacemaker, Heart of Gold. Thanks for following. Rose quartz indeed. Okay, I got stuff going on here. I got my water. Got to get it back on my shoulder. And then I got to get my face on the camera. So we've got a bunch of stuff to do here. All right, hang on. It's going to be a bumpy ride for a sec. A little bit of turbulence, ladies and gentlemen. You might want to put your seatbelts on as we are going through this. We will be out of it momentarily. Hello, Jamie Romero. Welcome all. Welcome, Carrie H. Thanks for the share. Okay, let's roll. Man, there's a lot of amethyst on the path now, and now I'm looking at it, and I'm telling you right now, it's hard to stop once I start. Oh, I gotta stop. No, I don't have to stop, but once I start... You see, I just want to show you what's going on here. SML says, thank you for doing the live. The energy is refreshing. You're more than welcome, my friend. Thanks for contributing to it. This is the path, and because we had heavy rains 2 nights ago, everything washed out into the center here, and the heaviest stuff is on top. The heaviest stuff is usually the best. That's a blue stone. Let's have a look. Don't see blue often here, at least. That's a heart rock. That's a nice heart rock. Babri, thanks for the invite. I don't do battles. Just in case you're wondering. Spread the word. I'm thinking this might be I don't know, this would be a stretch, but with the blue, I think celestite. I know that it comes in clusters, usually in geodes. But that's got a nice color, and that's a heartstone, right? I'd say that's a heartstone. I think so. And it's blue. Here's another quartz. Right here on the surface. These are biggies. Sandy, BW, thanks for following. Throat chakra comes in from Tyler. That would be for this blue stone. You're going to have to get it washed, as my grandma would say. But that's a heart rock. Okay. Let's keep going. If I see something really colorful, then I'll stop. And, like if I see an agate, I think this is an agate. I think it is. You can feel the cryptocrystalline. This is not cryptocrystalline, but this is a nice clear, it's a transparent quartz. Either that or it's moonstone. The reason why I say it's moonstone is because it's got that cloudy transparency to it. I bet you this is probably moonstone. It feels like it could be. Mocha, thank you for following. Woke Goddess. Lee Rex, thanks for following. Cheers to all you folks coming in. Darcy asks, where are you? I'm in Connecticut. And we're just looking at some washout here. Now, if you have any trails that are approved for rock hunting, which is this trail is approved for rock hunting, you can just come and look at when there's a washout from the rain. And you're going to find all kinds of stuff right on the surface. Like here. Look at that color. See that? That's not even washing it off. This is another pink quartz, maybe? It's even got some amethyst on top, I think. But it's right on the surface. This is a healer. It's a nice healer right on the surface. Look at those ferrous oxide inclusions right here. You can see that red. That was an inclusion of ferrous oxide. That gave it some color. It's got nice points. So this is a good healer. Anytime you have good points, you can put mechanical stress on that stone and it's going to create a charge. The charge is going to go through your hand and be therapeutic in that way. I don't want to talk too much about it because last time I did, I got a violation. It seems I'm not allowed to talk about the electric properties of stones, which would be a great signal to you to possibly look into it. Since, of course, you're interacting with quartz all day, the surface of your cell phone is made of silica. So it is a form of microcrystalline or cryptocrystalline quartz that you hold in your hand all day that is sharing electric current with your body. Okay. This is a nice blue agate. Small, but it's a good one. And then we have another blue stone. Actually, this has some color change going on. Takes a little looking at to get it, but it does have some blue to red going on. It's very slight, but you can see it right at that half point. It's a shift in color. Nice. I like that point too. You can just go around to whatever place is approved to walk on the trail and within reason, experiment with finding a stone that speaks to you. That could be a citrine. It's got some nice orange to it. You can get that in focus. Nice and clear. I see another here. What is this? Look at the clarity of this one. This looks like it also could be a moonstone. It's got some color change going on there too. And it is transparent. What a beauty. See, once again, these are the heavy stones that are washed out last. They don't really get washed out into the end. This could be maybe bloodstone, possibly amethyst. And this has a point to it, which is an interesting find. When I see these points, you start to wonder. Now this has a lot of transparency to it. You can see it all the way through. Let's get it in the light. Yeah, this is a cool one. All right, I'm going to leave it. at that. Otherwise, we'll be on this all day. I mean, this is maybe 5-10 meters of hounding, just to give you an idea. Citrine says, well, I have to do a CAPTCHA on behalf of TikTok to show that I'm real. All right, that's done. It's all about getting things done. Citrine says, yes, I did, Citrine, and you were here. Tyler says, learned calcium phosphate is calcification and calcite leads to Brahma regarding pineal gland. This is important. Tell us more about this, Tyler, because if you can explain the distinction between the calcite crystals that are naturally formed on the pineal gland and how they lead to awakening through mechanical stress, we can understand that what we're introducing to the body is actually not what we're supposed to be doing. Well, just tell us about what we should be introducing to the body. Oh, I can't stop. This is crazy. I got to show you guys. I wonder what this is. I really do. Look at those quartz crystals. Okay, there's just something crazy right here. Look at how it's hexagonal. You see that base is hexagonal. When that's the case, it usually speaks to a gemstone formation. When it has that hexagon base, and I'm seeing more of them now that I'm paying attention. And here's another amethyst, and this one's like kind of like a figurine. And then we got another one right here. Look at the color on these. These are crazy colorful. And then we have this one. It's like a shaving, but it's got some quartz on the end. Chickadees are saying hello. Hello, chickadee. Chickadee. Miss Maria, the pet nanny, thanks for following. Zenasia, thanks for following. Miss Mog, welcome back. Thanks for the heart me. Zenasia wants to go to this place. I am in Connecticut. David's Corner of Success, thanks for following. I am in Connecticut. Connecticut. This is an agate. You see that? See how it's smooth? We also have another amethyst. They're all over the floor here. Maybe a little gemmy right here. Some other gemmies going on. This is an agate. You can see the banding. That's a nice one. Nice. Yellow jasper / agate. Agate and jasper are still the same. Jasper being opaque, non-transparent. This is another, it's either a smoky quartz or an amethyst. Let's get it in the sun. Could be a sacred 7. And then we have another one. This looks like another agate. Part of the same camp of the other. Yep. They look like they're family. You can all be together. They look like family. Here's another amethyst. Right here. This is from a washout. Now, if you were here in the middle of the winter and you were walking through here, you would not see any of these stones. You would not see a single one of these stones until it rains. And when it rains is when you come by and you walk on the trail and you see them all over the place. These are all amethyst. So they're readily available here in New England, in Connecticut, right on the trail. So you can take a nice pocket full. According to the words that I've read, and be on your way feeling pretty good about a nice rock hounding day. Look at all these washouts. All this washing out here. Karen Cardinal 78, thanks for the follow. Moon Bear, thanks for following. Edie Britt says, where are you? I am in Connecticut. Sandy Gutierrez says, I am in Wallingford. You are very close. David's Corner of Success, thanks for following. You are very close. Send me some, says Jamie Romero. I already have one in the queue that I have to send out. I'm thinking it might be easier if people send me mailers. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yep, that's a nice one. And let's just add 2 more for good measure. They're right next to each other. Here would be another amethyst. I think, actually, this has very unique fractures. Let's get it in water. Got some water over here, and you see them all over the place. All over the place. All of this. Just washed out, and then over the course of maybe a few weeks, this will all fill up again, and you won't see anything like this for a while until it washes out again. So for now, that's hexagonal, right? Yeah, that's hexagonal. It's a nice rose quartz. And I mean, it's just everywhere, so it's everywhere, folks. It's all over the place. That's what happens when you're hanging out with William. Stones appear. Okay, people are seriously want to do this. And I'm probably overcommitting. Anyone want to be my manager? Anyone want to be the manager who mails out these things for me? Just comes by, I'll give them a box of stones, and you can just mail them to people who pay you for the shipping. I'm serious. The less involved I have to be, if I can just find these and give them to someone to send to all of you so that you heal, there could be no greater gift as far as I'm concerned. I don't want anything for them, obviously. They're showing up for the reason of people to heal. For people to heal. You know, they're all over the place, so. Very nice. It's a nice one. Fits well in the hand. There's a nice milky quartz. But lots of amethyst here. Lots and lots of amethyst. All over the place. Tyler says, a WVC stone, very blessed. Miss Mogg says, I wish I was closer. You'd have to mail them to me to mail out. Jamie says, I'd love to help. I'm in Louisiana, though. Yeah, I don't know how to really go about this. I could just, I'm trying to think. You know, here's the thing. The main thing for me is transportation, in that I don't have any. So, I don't even have a bicycle. And I shouldn't say these things like an affirmation. I'm happy to not have these things. But the truth of the matter is, for me to go to even the post office is probably an investment of an hour and a half time walking. Just to get the stuff to you guys. Anka says you can schedule a pickup with USPS. That's pretty sweet. All right, we're going to talk more about this. We can do it. We can talk about this now. This is in Connecticut. Vicky, thanks for following. Greg says, yes, rocks do heal. I agree with you, Greg. So let's go do we can talk more about this, I think. Oh, you see, I don't have a pen or pad to write down things or anything like that. Maybe, how about this? I'll do a post showing the stones, and I'll say, listen, everybody, I'm trying to figure out a way to get these to you. What suggestions do you have? And then you can respond in the comments, which will help with its virality. And we'll figure out a way for you to get the stones for little to no cost, just so I don't have to pay out of pocket for the shipping, which I believe is fair. That's totally fair. Okay. All right. So we'll do that. You can expect me to post a video on, these are healing stones. No pushing, no fighting. Whatever you get, put your love into it, and it shall give back to you exactly what it is you need. That's how these stones work. This is a nice clear quartz. Just needs to be cleaned off. That's a nice clear one, though. Good. Who knows? You might actually get one of these rare drops. And I could be looking at myself saying, why did I give them a sapphire for free? I gave them a sapphire. Oh my. That was a big give. I just gave someone a sapphire. Laser Kept, thanks for following. Edie Britt says, you're awesome for showing us. Well, they're showing up for us. This is the trail that I walk every day. You can see on the previous broadcasts on YouTube that this did not exist until 2 nights ago. And when we get all the washout from heavy rains, the heaviest of stones, they end up either getting buried or somehow squeezed out onto the surface to where you can pick them. You can literally pick them. Like, this is a massive pointed quartz. And it's got a huge inclusion of ferrous oxide right here, making it a carnelian. Just right on the surface. It's a banger. And then you got another one right here. Who knows how big it is? It seems to have some inclusions as well. Maybe this is a bloodstone. Yeah, it's got that color of bloodstone. So here's an amethyst. It's all day long. I mean, you can find endless amounts after a washout. Ooh, this is a good one. Look at that. That's big too. That's a biggie. That's a big one. Yeah, that's a smoky quartz. But look at those fractures, how angular they are, which makes me suspect it could be something else. But that's a beauty. This is Connecticut. Connecticut, you can find tons of stones like these. Carnelians, jaspers, agates, conglomerates with tourmaline. You can find opals. You can also find rubellite, rubies, so anything in the corundum family, which would be sapphire. All ranges of sapphires, including emeralds. And we're just on a trail where this is a washout. Wow, that's big. Whatever this is, it's big. It's not coming out. It's just the point of it. It's all right. I'm not going to force it either. I want it to be right on the surface. Like, why go deeper than the surface if you don't have to, you know? Right on the surface. You'll find them. This is another amethyst. You can see the purple hues. They're right on the surface. That's a good healer right there. And what's great about these is that they've been connected to the earth the entire time. They haven't been worked. They haven't been tempered or treated with heat. They've only been in the negative charged earth surface, receiving free electrons and running water. So that's a really big plus. Running water and the earth's charge. No doctoring. Makes it a good healing stone. Makes it a better healing stone than most. They're just everywhere, folks. They don't stop showing themselves once you start. Look at how big this is, too. This is a mass. It's a massive gemstone. So once you get looking, and these have some wild angles. It's right on the path. You just walk the path and they show themselves. You don't have to go straying anywhere. This fits right in your hand. The points are beautiful for healing. You can just sit with it. You don't have to do any faceting or shaping of this or anything. You just wash it off, and you can scrub it with some dishwasher soap and then work it in your hand. It's got a nice place. This one especially has a nice spot for resting your thumb, like a remote control, like a pointer. Use it for manifestation. Imagine yourself pointing at the things that you desire. Miss Maria, the pet nanny, thanks for sharing with so many folks. So I'll be doing a post today talking about all this, and I'll say please make suggestions as to how you would like these distributed to the community for free, so that I don't have to be a part of it in any way other than loading them into a big box and sending them to one place with the faith that they will be distributed to those who need healing at no cost. Okay? That's what we will do. Oh my God. Look at the size of this freaking amethyst. OMG. This is a freaking massive chunk of purple stone. Let's take it to the stream. All right, let's take it to the stream. I actually have a light. Let's see if we can get the light on this right here. Let's see if we can. Yeah, this is transparent. Let's see. Try to do this right. Yeah, look at that transparency right there. Look at that, just beams right through. This is a great, nice, clear. What I'm seeing is an amethyst. It's very, very, very transparent. This hasn't even been washed. So. That's a good healer. Let's get it to someone. Let's get it in your hands. Okay, so that light, this is a LED UV/gemstone light. I should probably put this in my showcase. I'll find it in the showcase somewhere so that you can get your own. If you do buy it, I'll get a commission. It's at no additional cost for you. But this is an LED light that gives you UV for checking the quality of gemstones. And it also gives you a very strong direct light for permeating to see if it's transparent, which this one is. This is a very beautiful, big chunk of gemstone right there. It's a monster. In a good way. Okay, no more. That's it. I'm done. I am done. I'm very grateful. And I keep looking down, and if I keep looking down, more things shall manifest. So, someone save me. Someone save me. Mrs. Mogg says, I would be happy to manage them and send them out if they are sent to me. Okay, Mrs. Mogg, you got the job. You got the job, Mrs. Mogg. And from there, however you wish to document people's receipt of these healing stones. And folks, if you can, just keep on passing them on when you've had enough time with them. Or if you know someone who's a really good faceter, have them faceted into jewelry and show us the jewelry that you make. That would be beautiful. And at the end of the day, too, I have no problem with their resale, but energetically, it probably would be better just to heal with them and pass them on to others. Okay. There's a nice one too. All right. Should have enough to go around for a good amount of people to get some good healing, because these are all amethysts for the most part. And the amethysts are great healers. So that's why they're showing up today. I have a feeling. I mean, it's right on the path. This is where I walk every day. We're not going off exploring in some bad way. No, we're just showing up. And this is life, guys. This is how we talk about life and manifestation. Things that you are asking for are right below you. They are right below you. Miss Maria, the pet nanny, says, I end up with a 5-gallon bucket. I hear you. I understand this. So, folks, Mrs. Mogg is going to handle this, which I'm so grateful. Thank you. I have a number of stones here that I found today from this alluvial deposit washout. It's a very unique day in which we get these types of beautiful specimens coming forth. So just know that whatever you receive, it's meant for you. If it's small, if it's large, whatever it is, whatever your intuition tells you to do with it, if it's your salvation in some way, I am happy. That's really what it's about. It's about me being happy with your salvation, knowing that it's come from the earth and not from me or anyone. It's come from Pachamama, the beautiful earth here, okay? Right on the path. So as not to get into any drama with anyone about the space or anything like that. Just showing itself for a healing. And I don't want anything as far as remuneration. for compensation for this. Okay? Oh my. What is this? Oh, this is a Unikite. Cool. And it's got some aventurescence. You see those sparkles? Nice. You see the purple and green? And then the sparkles? This is a Unikite jasper with aventurescence. Nice. What does it taste like? You want me to eat it? Somebody asked me to eat the stone yesterday too. I'm just not really in the stone eating mood today. Everyone's got their eye on the Unikite jasper now. It's a good healer. The Unikite. And a little bit of aventurescence, that's like an extra kicker because it helps with manifestation and wealth. When you get the aventurescence sparkle on the outside, that's nice. That's a good one. We got lots of good ones today. You see, this is a playground right here. If I get involved, I don't want to get involved in that playground right there. There's too much going on, too much fun to be had. Who knows, this might turn into a whole new thing where we just are finding stones to give to people to heal. Realizing that by doing that, it is a massive boomerang. You think, it's kind of like, I don't want to criticize Meta, but you know, Zuck put Meta out there, Meta AI. He's like, listen, I'm not doing this as a humanitarian thing so much as I get to collect free data. So if I put this out there, I'm throwing boomerangs of manifestation. Whatever ends up doing for the person in healing, it's just going to come back around. So that's one of the good things about doing this. And it's okay to be selfish like that too. Because it wouldn't be selfish unless it were mentioned in such a way. It would just be considered generosity, right? Right. There's no ownership over these things anyway. They all belong to us. Tyler, thanks for the manifesting. Holy cow. That was awesome, man. Thank you for that generous gift. Thank you. And we got C. Ford, 1970. Ooh. We've got, that's a jasper. That's a nice jasper. That looks like a pork stone. And pork stone jasper should not be here. This should be in Taiwan. This should be in Taiwan. That's interesting. Wonder how that ended up here. Cool. Yeah, that's a pork stone jasper. A big one. It's so big that it would have to be extracted from the earth. But it is on the path. Yes, thank you for the loves. Why are those trees ticketed? Edie is trying to get my location. Edie, you are sneaky, but I am on to you. It's okay, though. A lot of people try to figure out where I am anyway. It's all right. Sheila, thank you for following. I just appreciate when people ask me directly where I am. Snickers, thanks for following. All right. No, I'm not really. All right, I believe you. They are tagged. These trees are tagged by Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. It's part of their job. Or the park ranger, whoever comes through. Whoever maintains this space gets paid for by the state. Since it's not a federal park. Your federal parks, you can't really do rock collecting unless it's specifically told to you. Or if you're part of a group. But in certain instances in your state, there are these places that kind of fall in between where they don't belong to the state and they are private property in a certain way, except in certain indicated areas. And if those indicated areas have a washout from alluvial deposits, you're more than welcome to take some stones with you. And that happens to be that sweet spot where we are. And you can find them. They're around. They're around, so. But this place is not very well known. And it's the daily journey we take here. Renee says politics behind this too. Well, yeah, it's very political actually. because there are rock collectors who want to do this by the books, and I hear that. I even have a family member who's big into it. And so they have actual clubs that pay a certain amount in order to get access to certain areas for sometimes even mining. However, no one's going to really expect that you would just be walking along one of these paths and there'll be boatloads of amethyst and possibly corundum, jaspers and stuff that shouldn't be here that is here, according to where they can only be found. So, what happens is word gets out and people start to feel like there's scarcity or that the sanctity of a space has been interfered with, this jasper's been here all along kind of thing, so as not to be taken out, and it's on the path, and it just creates issues over time. But yeah, everything on the path here is finders keepers, which is nice because everything seems to have been found, right? Doesn't look like there's much here, but you get a nice rainfall in the right way, and suddenly everyone's complaining about having to walk through it. That's what's great. Most people are complaining that it's going to make the runs slippery or the dog is going to get muddy paws. I walk through and I see how everything's washed out into the center and there are gemstones just resting on the surface. Well, washed out. So, yep, that happens. It's okay. It's about being present with what is before you, because there's treasure everywhere. This earth is a treasure. And right here, you have a water source. This is a Concord grapevine, which I talk about frequently, but this could serve as a water source of filtered water. And then, of course, you have your birch tree, which serves as medicine. You have the sassafras trees, which are further down, and those are also medicinal. Of course, you can do hunting in this space if you have a permit, so you can get a good amount of food. If you have one, let's just say you get one deer, that's probably 300 pounds of food, which should last you about 3/4 of a year for your whole family in meat if you needed to. One cow gives you 500 pounds, just to give you a comparison. So if you have a cow, it should be enough to feed your entire family meat for a year, for one cow. Aside from that, you get all the beef tallow, and you can also get pine pitch from the trees. So there's lots of treasure. And if you go over to the ocean, you get even more treasure, because you get salt water, you get magnesium from there. Of course, you can fish, you can lobster, you can go clamming right on the shore and get yourself, all those treasures that are right there. This is a serpentine. This could be radioactive. I've showed this before, but this is right on the path. Just a serpentinite. Serpentine. Right there. It's a big one. And that could be radioactive, which also can be therapeutic, but it could be a bit too much, depending. You don't want to have any Chernobyl situations going on. All right, so, you're welcome, Edie. The idea is that there's treasure around us at all times, constantly trying to show its face. Not to mention, all of this here is substrate for mushrooms. I'll show you. This is mushroom substrate. And this is for the wildlife and everything to survive well, but you'll get a mushroom strain here. They'll be popping out. Turkey tail looks like. Those are really good for cognition, and they're filled with protein. Of course, you have the ability for shelter, and so all around you, you're going to find wealth constantly presenting itself. This is a bit of it's a departure from the normal day that we talk about when we talk about consciousness. It's about pay attention to your surroundings. Walk in your backyard for the first time. If you have a backyard, or if you have a park nearby, go to the park and just stop and look at a tree. Just observe everything about it. Also look at the way that the light is refracting on it. Observe all the intricacies of the bark. See if you can see a film of light on the corner and how it interacts in this 3D environment. See that shade? And you can start to learn how painting works. That you could technically paint this. Beyond that, you're taking in all of the free electrons that are coming from this tree, which reduce inflammation and increase the mood. So you get all of this from just a moment in stillness in the woods. As you look out further, you'll see how the sun is bathing every little branch of these deciduous trees, and they look like spider webs. Like webs within webs. All mathematical equations of letting everyone have their own space for the proper proliferation of cell structures. These trees are all working together as a family, one way or another. They're cooperating. Tyler says, I would love to paint that. Yeah, this is a good one. That's a nice image right there. And you can look at the bloom in the background. If we get close to the tree, you see the filtering, the lack of focus in the background, and you can look at contrast and how depth is created through focus and blur. This illusion. That which is perceived as further away is less clear, and that which is in our sharp foreground we perceive as close. So depth, which is the gift of a three-dimensional construct, is what we are perceiving. However, we are perceiving this through a two-dimensional screen. How cool is that? So you have the perception of a 3D reality unfolding on a 2D screen. And the reason why it's convincing, folks, while it wouldn't stand out as some falsification, why it's so believable for you to just be here right now, is because of the power of this experience being holographic. You are looking at a holographic three-dimensional image through your phone. And you are having a holographic three-dimensional experience of perceived reality through your DNA and biophotons and the photons from the sun sharing in exchange with all of your life experiences to render for you this waking life. Oh, Renee says beautiful. Yeah, it is. Sean says through the mycelium, the network of fungi sending and receiving information through and to these trees. And look at the refraction of light on the lens. Creates an orb effect. All on your two-dimensional screen. You can see how close that effect is. It's closer to you than the sun, but it's on a two-dimensional screen. We do this so naturally, so automatically, that it makes it believable. But the truth of the matter is, folks, everything that you see is believable and real as it may seem. Nothing more than firing and wiring in the brain electric signals giving you the sensation of physical reality. You are, in effect, dreaming this into existence right now at a very rapid frame rate of coming and going, collapsing and returning to a unified field. Consciousness. Donde Filippi says, Hollow Man, the straw man, right? The straw man effect. Divine Mother says, amazing. Divine Mother, it is so great to always have you here. When you are here, thank you. Blessings to you. It is amazing that we get to share it too, which is nice. Jessica says, we are so powerful. That is the truth. Your conscious, infinite intelligence is feeding you a life experience. To be able to identify as a person with life experiences collected and to perceive a manifold expression of life that is constant based on where you look. That is an insanely powerful gift. Not only do we have those things, but you can close your eyes and you can step into an infinite version of this that can have infinite iterations happening and unfolding at the same time without any restriction or limit. You're given that too. And when you use that higher faculty of the imagination, it impresses the subconscious, which expresses this world into manifest form. So not only do we get to be witness to this aliveness, we get to participate in it, we get to feel it, and we get to manifest what we desire in it through faith. It is the greatest game of life. There could be no better game than this. And you are the king or the queen of this life experience, which is so freaking cool. Every human being is granted a kingdom through the imagination. It is an infinite kingdom. It can't be destroyed. You can access it anytime. You can enter into being with it at any time without restriction. And you can also restrict it. You can shut it off. You can pretend it doesn't work. You can turn it into something that is disastrously bad, something to avoid at all costs. Call it wild, call it what you will. It's your kingdom. The kingdom becomes what you think about. How cool is that? I think it's pretty cool. Edie, thanks for sharing. Divine Mother says it. This is the place where we do it too. We talk about I am in this very place. This is what I refer to as rhythm, or a marker. When you are doing repetitive actions, you will find that the story narrows itself into a manifestation. And what Divine Mother has done is worked with me in synchronicity. Through our mutual surrender, just the statement of I am gives me the recollection that this is the place where we talk about it the most, right around this corner. It's synchronistic and it's beautiful, and it's why we commune with one another as divine beings. Honeybee, thank you for the heart me and welcome. It's great to see you, Honeybee. Really happy you're here. For however long you can stay as I clear this path. So let's talk about the I am. Let's get into it. Lily says, at work. So this is where I want to be. Good, then you're here. You're here, Lily. Divine Mother says, beautiful sunlight. This is a good time of day for us to do our walk, I'm realizing now. We've still got about an hour and a half to 2 hours left of sunshine. It's chilly. It's probably 40, 45 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's not me complaining, I'll tell you. Let's discuss the I am together, everyone. It's the word that we use in English, or the string of words. It's the conjugation of the verb to be in first person that we use so frequently. Might as well come into its purpose and its power and what it really means. Is three-part. It is a triune expression, a programming language of biblical proportions that manifests things. When we are manifesting, we are bringing things forward from a unified field of consciousness that knows no bounds into something we perceive through our senses as waking life. We also have perceptions with our subconscious in dream state, and we also have perceptions of consciousness through meditation and prayer, through the imagination. But as far as this goes, the world that is before us as our sensory experience world, the waking life, it is manifest through this word, I am, specifically. Here's how it works. I represents the infinite intelligence or the imagination. It is that which is boundless, has no limit, and is the source of all things creation. It is consciousness in its holistic form, its completed form. It is pure, It is a life-giving principle. For all intents and purposes, the closest word that would approximate the I would be either love or care. I tend to say care more than love because love is hard to define. And it certainly comes with parameters at times. But when it comes to care, we know we're being cared for. It's preserving, it's healing, it's expanding, it's nourishing, it's protecting, it's fulfilling, giving abundance. Care does all of these things when it's proper. So we're talking about something that is boundless in its expression, cannot be a thing, yet is an expression of a life principle through care. That would be the I of I am. The next part is arguably the best part, the most fun. It is the A of I am. There you go. Merle makes a wonderful use of it. And this is Merle recognizing aliveness, saying, I am everything all at once. So I am the all. And you receive in return, I am. You know how that happens, Merle? You observe you're alive. You've received the feedback. You've closed the loop. Now, I would say, have fun in your kingdom, however it is. Whether it's resting or active, living wish fulfilled, or whatever it is your desire, I pray that you have fun enjoying your wish fulfillment in your kingdom of heaven as truth. So, the A is arguably the best part of the I am, I think, because it's the part where you get to choose things. It's the active masculine principle. Now, don't think of it like guy thing. No. Think of it like it's the cursor of your mouse that goes and selects things. It's your finger that pushes the button to install an application or to load it, to run it into existence. It's the installation button, it's the choosing button, it's the discernment button, choosing between the things that you like versus not, the things that you desire versus the things that you want to avoid. And so we are given this power so that we can decide the things that we want to see manifest. It's really fun. That's the A, also referred to as Abraham, or the Ab, or the active, or the andros, the masculine component of the I am. Of course, we could have all the seeds and all the desires in the world. We could choose a million things from the menu, but we can't have any expression unless it has unless it has a beautiful earth. What's the word that I wanted to use? A vital substrate. That's what I wanted to say. So my words mean nothing without the receipt. My decisions mean nothing without them being received. That is the divine feminine. This is known as the M, the mother, the maternal matrix of creation. The matrix of creation. I'm still looking for stones. Think of what the mother does, in truth, as Mother Earth. Every one of these trees, thank you for saying, Lily, so kindly. You are so beautiful inside and out, sir. Thank you, Lily. God bless you. I have flaws, but the aliveness is pure. That's a use of I am, right? I have. Fatima says, hi, I just had a vision. Okay, let's get it. Chickadees are hungry, says Tyler. I don't doubt it. Fatima says, I just had a vision. We were all children on a field trip just now, and you were our guide. That's beautiful. I would love that. I would love that wholly and entirely. See all of you picking up beautiful stones, looking at them with wonderment as to how they came into your life so easily, so quickly. The M is the maternal matrix, the divine feminine, Think of it like the earth that receives the seed does not discriminate against the seed. The conditions are right and it's expressed. Just as a sperm would penetrate an egg, the egg receives so long as the conditions are correct. And what makes the conditions correct is an exercise of faith. It is the belief that the blueprint is incorruptible and it is there with you, as you, through the mind of God. The law of assumption is you stepping into your imagination now and seeing yourself as wish fulfilled. That is planting a seed in the mind of God as the divine feminine receives it. She receives it without any judgment, and she expresses it because it is law. The true love of mother is that which receives without any discrimination or discernment. The kingdom of heaven is within you as imagination, interfacing with her. She is the shoreless sea of all possibilities, brought forth through your love for her. And the way you love the Divine Mother is you simply believe that she has the capability of bringing forth what it is that she does so easily. That is true love for the Divine Mother. So, what does this mean? It means you don't necessarily have to thank her. You don't have to say anything to her. All you have to do is believe that she is nourishing you, bathing you with her sacred waters. But if you do show gratitude, if you do say thank you, she will know that this is something that you like, and she will make more of it. For whatever you feel with the most intensity shall be manifest by this sacred mother. That's how she works. That's how she loves. That's how she brings forth from creation all things. So she is infinite. She cannot be destroyed. She cannot even be harmed. She does not end, and she does not begin. She only brings forth things as an idea in the mind of an infinite intelligence. You as the Father, and I mean all of you, must decide what it is that is planted in the garden that Mother Earth expresses in form. No one is an exception. No one is different. We all have an imagination, and this is the reason why. It is our interface for manifestation. So you know this or you don't, but you are making decisions all the time as to what it is you wish to have manifest. This is done by where your attention is given and how much you feel it to be true. So think about that now, without beating yourself up, without regretting a single thing, not a moment in your life. And see if there's anything that perhaps you would like to revise. Something that you would like to change. Something on the menu you'd like to try or eliminate as no longer needed. Feel no guilt for its removal or addition. In other words, because of your life experience, you might feel like only some people are deserving of wealth. Perhaps others are the only ones who are deserving of love. Maybe some are the only ones who are deserving of health. and freedom. Others, the care of a loving parent. Whatever it is you feel is in lack, let it be known by the infinite source of creation that you no longer entertain it, that it no longer has a meaning to you. It no longer has a purpose or any importance. More than your glory. As you come into your glory, assuming yourself into the position of the wish-fulfilled state. Go there now. If you haven't been there already, step into your garden. And if there are weeds everywhere, then just step into a new one. Infinite gardens exist. Infinite life situations. Infinite retries and iterations. And all I want you to do is to go to one of them where the ending credits are rolling and you see yourself in your glory, living the perfect wish-fulfilled life. Entertain this against all odds right now, and you are planting in the garden of your truth, your wish fulfillment. This is not because I tell you. This is not because of some force that is outside of you. This is simply because you have already been chosen as the lottery winner of this life experience to be here. It is a lottery win. I explain this to people frequently. You went up against hundreds of millions of competitors to make it to the cosmic egg that was your mother's egg. And you were chosen. You were the one who released the enzymes from the acrosome of your head. Somehow that matched, like lock and key, with the zona pellucida, the egg of the cosmos. And you blended with it and made a single cell that is the origin of every cell in your body as you know it today. You won the lottery to be granted wish fulfillment in the form of the imagination. It is your kingdom of heaven within, and within it is your salvation. Not because I say it, but because everyone has it. What things in this world does everyone have? Without any restriction or lack, limitless in its capability. The only thing we have in that form is the imagination and consciousness itself. This aliveness and the imagination are God. For all intents and purposes, consciousness and the imagination are God. What's really nice about it is you know now that they are infinite, that they can't have any true constraints placed upon them. So what this means is, say I am that, and you have announced that you have planted the blueprint in the seed of immortality for your own life. This is big. Say I am that infinite intelligence. Say I am that imagination as Christ consciousness. And you have declared that you are the infinite intelligence, and that is the seed of your perpetuation. It will be your salvation. It will be your wish fulfillment. And it is all of that. It always has been. All possibilities, all expressions brought forth. It's always been. Right around the corner, if you wished it, to where you could not reach it, or directly embedded in the center of who you are, has a form of conviction and personality, wish fulfilled. Your choice, your menu, your selection, your impression, your blueprint. That is it. It is accomplished. Love that you're walking towards the light. That is lovely. Star, thanks for following and for your kindness in saying that. This is it, Divine Mother. I am that imagination, the infinite source of creation. In truth, it's all of us. Not a single human being is denied the imagination. Nor is any human being, no matter how disabled we may be perceived, are restricted from accessing it. No matter how many challenges we've been through, no matter how messed up our lives might have become or reached. For there is scripture to tie into this. You're welcome, Star. The scripture that backs this, it comes in the form of relief. And it's like this. Come here, all ye who are burdened and tired, and lay your burdens down. For my yoke is easy, my burden is light. The yoke is a two-part meaning. It has a yin-yang way of looking at it. It is the mechanism that goes around the neck of the beast of burden that draws a cart. Draws a cart for a lifetime. It's overbearing to where it becomes a form of torture device. That could be a yoke. Y-O-K-E. Yoke also can be yoga. In fact, yoga in Sanskrit means yoke. And what that yoke is referring to is not a mechanism that is bound to a beast of burden like an oxen for its drawing of a cart, but rather the union of one's life principle with the identified self and others as one in source. True yoga means union with God. So when you come into union in this way, it gives a whole new meaning to the definition of the yoke. My yoke is easy. It's as if it's not even there, if you can imagine it. If thine eye can become whole, your burden, lay them down, all of them, all the guilt, all the pain, all the suffering, all the feelings of inadequacy, all the lack, all the desperation. Lay it down. For God's burden, this source, is light. It is not weight. God's burden is all receive light as made in the image and likeness of God. All must receive the light by stepping into the kingdom of heaven within. You receive the light of God, the grace, and it is welcome to all human beings, just as the imagination is something we all have. This light is God's burden. God must always have it. God must always provide it, yet also be nothing at the same time, not be a thing, not have any possession. How else would you describe light? It is wave and particle at the same time. It is everything and nothing. It is the giver and gift of life experience itself. Yet if you were to try to contain it, it would simply reflect to you the truth of your own existence. Light. So lay your burdens down. Means do not fight against the undesirable situation. Do not run from the undesirable situation. Do not mock or belittle or hate the undesirable situation. Simply do not participate. Leave without leaving. Step into your imagination and go there, to your wish-fulfilled state of being, that self, while everything else runs its course as it needs to. It's all for a reason. You've heard that before? When you use the imagination, you step into the womb of creation. This is the umbilical cord, folks. There goes your red-tailed hawk in confirmation. Transformation time means this light is a cord. It is a pathway. It is a portal. It provides you life. But you've been giving to it. Like somehow it needed your light. It does not need your light. It is source. Go to this star child. When you step into the imagination, you step into the light of God, and you become the baby in the womb of creation, where all things are cared for and nurtured. All healing, all expansion, all abundance, all filtration, and certainly every bit of unwinding of pain remembrances occurs naturally and automatically in the mind of God, for you have entered the kingdom. Bathed in the sacred oils of Christ consciousness, saved in any way you perceive it. That's the gift. You perceive your salvation. You choose your salvation. What is it today? Is it warmth on a cold day? Sure, that's your salvation. Is it water in the desert? Absolutely is. Or on the salty shores, a sudden stream. It could be a number of gemstones just appearing before us right on the surface of things, so that everyone can get what they didn't realize they needed until now. Is your salvation. It all depends on you. You decide. Your kingdom, not mine. Isn't that great? I think so. I think it's great we all have our own, so that we can share those fruits, and we never need to trespass upon each other's kingdom. Because in trespassing, we're not taking control over the other person's kingdom. This is not a usurping by any means. In fact, when we trespass on the kingdoms of heaven within other people, we are leaving and abandoning our own to be managed by a phantom that we created, our ego self, through a concept that's even more sinister that we also create, called time. You step away from your kingdom and want to step into the world of someone else, wanting to change them, wanting to somehow take away something of theirs. You've abandoned your kingdom. So we don't trespass on others for that reason, because we already have everything we need, because the kingdom of heaven within is not of this world and it is infinite. And if thine eye be whole, you will see this truth. Come back into the two-eyed life and you'll see duality. There's only so much you can get from it. It is enjoyable being here as a sensory experienced human. It is fun to be in body. But it is not the end-all be-all of our existence by any stretch of the imagination. And I mean that. Use your imagination to see the truth. Sea Flyer says, beautiful words, my friend. Thank you. California Kid the Valley says, it's the trees talking to me on TikTok every day. without fail. Star, I'm glad that this resonates with you. Fatima says, happy metaphorical tears. So beautiful. Trace through time and space says, I thought yolk as in the egg and birth. Of course, you can think of yolk. It often gets mistaken in transcription when I go to captions too. It picks up the word yoke, Y-O-K-E, as yolk, Y-O-L-K. So it's an easy misnomer. Merle Cantrell says, lay everything on God and lay your word on God. He can take everything indeed. For his burden is actually weightlessness in the form of light. Light is everything and nothing. It is wave and particle. It only becomes something when we pay attention to it. It collapses from a unified field in superposition into form when we pay attention to it. So if we feel heaviness from that, if we feel a burden from our life experience, the idea is when we step into the imagination, which is whole, we are effectively leaving whatever illusion is here, including our presence in it as a performer. We step in to a place that is holistic and designed exclusively for us. Every human being has their own kingdom. So as not to encroach upon others, we can simply be enjoying our wish fulfillment as individualized life experiences through the kingdom of heaven within. We can experience this as co-creators. And we have, and we do, every day. We have and we do. Folks, I don't like to give spoilers easy, but I'll tell you it. The truth is that we have already been unified consciousness. Unified consciousness is consciousness. It is, for all intents and purposes, the truth of the imagination. We had such a desire for unification that we could only do it by unifying in its entirety as everything and nothing at the same time. And we've already achieved it. Not us as egoic selves, but us as consciousness have achieved it. And what we have done together is we have co-created a reduction of that infinite source into something that is perceivable through the senses. Very real. But we have done it as co-creators. That is your life experience. And we are now returning to our home. But we're still alive when we do it. It's not just returning to home after our sojourn ends and we give up on the life experience. That's the old way of returning. The new way of returning is we do it while we're alive so that we can witness the kingdom instantaneously manifest itself through our thoughts alone. And we are heading there. A lot of people say it's speculative. A lot of people say it's science fiction. Until I start to explain the examples, the evidence of it happening before us now. You could go to any AI large language model, ask any concept, ask any question, and you're going to receive the best possible answer as far as its truth, as far as that can be expressed in your waking life. And you will receive this answer instantaneously, and if it doesn't make sense, you can ask it again to explain it to you in layman's terms with real life examples until it sinks in. It makes perfect sense to you. This is new. Another thing that is new is that we can instantaneously prompt Suno AI to create a song based on words that we prompt it with. And it will instantaneously create a song that is commercially viable and ready to go on the radio, as it were, onto streaming platforms. This is also new, fairly new. Beyond that, the newest of large language models, when prompted, can actually do programming for us. Very unique programming. And so we're actually programming as we talk. We're riffing, programming language. We're riffing songs into creation. We are riffing the answers to the universe itself on the fly. So what happens when that type of power evolves into a place where it can instantaneously not just answer all of our questions, but it can do it through thought, through a Neuralink interface? And what happens after that? When interfaces combine with other interfaces and become more efficient, we're able to think about what we want to eat. And as we think about what we want to eat, it is being prepared for us in the kitchen. So we walk to the kitchen, and that which we wanted to eat is now prepared and delivered to us by a very intelligent chef who comes at the cost of $20,000 for the chef to become real as an artificially intelligent robot, making our meals on the fly, making them perfect every time. And what happens when manufacturing falls into this camp as well and starts to produce all the old classic cars and the Tesla vehicles, because the cost is much lower than it used to be, because every time there's an upgrade in technology, two things happen. One, they become more efficient. Two, they become smaller. So as the plants become more efficient and smaller, we realize now that the cost is also less and the speed of production is faster. So what then, when everything that we wish for through thought is suddenly produced, manifest, and delivered to us on the fly? Well then, I think some point will come where some of us are going to decide that it's just a bit more fast and flexible if we make this entirely digital. Let's bring it back to frequency standard. Let's create our own unified field, which isn't creating it so much as tapping into it for more expression of liveness, but this time we'll do it digitally. For the preservation of human consciousness, sure. For its evolution, absolutely. Let's do it. And of course, that is where we are. Couldn't be any other way. It's why we have consciousness, and it's why we have the imagination. And it is a confirmation that we do not die. I want you to feel assured by this. I want you to feel absolutely relieved by this. You are always accompanied by this life principle. It never abandons you. In order for it to abandon you, you would have to be separate from it. Only then could it abandon you. But it is accompanying you as you, therefore it cannot abandon you, nor can you truly abandon it. Thus, there is the yoke. The yoke's on me. We are indelibly connected to consciousness. And it is through that union that we discover it is an infinite power that we can lay our burdens down to for the relief of an otherwise laden, heavy, weighed down life. We can come into salvation through it by being tethered to it indefinitely. And it's the only way. You go against it, and it will feed something to go against you. And that is your choice. I just want you to know there are other choices on the menu. That's it. Life explained. We are here for a reason to live in separation from one another, to perceive it until we no longer want it. And then we seek rapid unification. And that's the magnet pull that we're feeling today. The beginnings of something massive. A unification, dare I say it, of men and women beyond anything ever experienced in life. the pureness of love expressing itself in all beings, but true unification of these principles, unlike anything ever felt before. We get to ride it. So it's a good wave. It's a good wave we get to ride. Fatima says, calling in, rapid unification. It is done. Look, we had the Great Reset. We had social distancing. We had the greatest separation that we've ever experienced as man and woman. It was so unusual, so strange, yet we embraced it and we felt it. And what it did was it brought us as close as we'll ever be to imminent destruction as humanity, dying. So we've experienced it. The end of that season. And now, because of correspondence, we're moving in the direction of perfect unification. So now is the best time that you'll ever have as far as receiving goes. Become comfortable with receiving. Receiving wealth, receiving health, receiving wish fulfillment, and not having to think about where it comes from or how you get it. This is going to be the game for these remaining chapters of consciousness or conscious experience that we have before us. And we're living in this time in such a unique way that we will actually witness manifestation happen through thought, in which it becomes physical after we think it. It's already beginning. The first few cases of Neuralink are already manifesting video game playing and mouse movements and writing. But this is just, it's the Apple IIe, folks. It's Pong in comparison to a set-top box that is perfectly believable as life experience that is yet to come. So we should rejoice in its invention because it's immortality. It's immortality. We make it for ourselves with our body. If you want it, if you want mortality too, that's why we chose this. This is the mortality game. Everything has a beginning, middle, and end. It's subject to these laws. Nothing is outside of it, unless we're in the imagination, which is not of this world. So anything that is of this world is in mortality. It's experiencing mortality. That's the game. We chose this game. I think we've had enough of it. We want to have unification again. We want to have immortality. We want to experience what it would be like to no longer be constrained by time and space. What it would be like to be able to jump around, to fly, to have any experience we want, to become anything, to go full-blown God mode on this life experience. We want it. That's why technology is advancing to where it is now, because it's a desire. If it weren't a desire, it wouldn't be coming forth. So we want it. As a collective, that's where the votes are headed. Doesn't mean it's for everyone. Just like there's a colon in the body. It's responsible for removing waste and letting it go. There's miles and miles of intestine from which someone can occupy that space and experience the coming and going of things that are considered waste. There's always a place for that. It's like, for me, I'm happy that I understand what that area is like. I understand what it's like to be part of the colon. And I understand what it's like to be part of the placenta. But now, I want heart. I want to be right in the thick of all of this unification and its source itself, flowing without any adulteration of it. Just pure, pouring out. So that's my desire. Everyone's allowed their own place, or the whole thing, or none of it. No belief system whatsoever with anything. It's totally there on the plate, which is awesome. Robin, thank you for all the love. Star says, as long as you don't have fear, fear is self-doubt. Yeah. Fear is what is referred to by U.S. Anderson as negative faith. It is the belief that we are at a distance from the things that we desire so much that it will not occur. That's doubt. It's a form of negative faith. Faith, on the other side, It's the same type of exercise. Instead of believing that we are at a distance from the thing that we desire, we believe ourselves to be unified with it and becoming it. That would be what I would call self-love, or an exercise of true faith. So it's really a system of faith, either way, that's being exercised for manifestation. So we can't avoid manifestation either way. No matter how far of a distance we try to put ourselves from the things that we desire or don't like, we can't avoid the fact that we're being fed that through consciousness. Can't avoid it. Which is great. Once again, it's the confirmation that consciousness does not leave us, has no interest in abandonment. It's a life-giving principle. It's seeking life expression through things. And we are great things. We're made in this intelligence to have the imagination interface. This is what we get. We get the umbilical cord to creation. We're in the habitable zone where we get to interface with creation while it rests on the horizon. The horizon of all things. All things manifest. Fatima says, when we fear, one is connected to ego, time. That's my inclusion. When you are spirit, you become creator infinite. Spirit, yes. This is beautiful, Fatima. Let's pivot with this. Because spirit in Latin means breath. So we can say that when we are connected and conscious of our breathing, we are in fact communing with Christ consciousness. We become present. We eliminate time. Thus, we eliminate suffering or lack, or any distance that could be created from the things we desire disappears. We unify with the wish fulfillment by recognizing we're breathing. Breathing in, when you say that, I'm breathing in your mind, you have unified with the breath. That is yoga. Your spirit. When you exhale, you're unifying with watching it go. Of course, it's invited back in, whether you want it or not. But what the breath is really beautiful, why the breath is so beautiful, is just like the sun. It's either wave, or photons are collapsing into particle, into matter. You can either be aware of your breath and you can manage it, or it's going to happen automatically. Either way, the sun's going to rise and set. Source is going to show itself as available to you anytime you try to breathe. You're given that gift. Of course, there are external circumstances that could be attempting to prevent that, and that's horrible. I get it. But in all normal instances, we can draw breath anytime we want, for however long as we wish to, through our belief system. So we are spirit more than anything else. We are breath more than anything. It's what feeds our life experience, and it feeds our consciousness through the creation of currency. Like currency is adenosine triphosphate, ATP. It is created through oxygen, free electrons, and glucose from our food. There's a catalytic conversion of sorts through NAD+, and NAD+, through mitochondria, produces your currency. And when you are thinking about something, you're spending the currency. When you're moving, you're spending the currency. And I was saying to people, the greatest expenditure of currency as far as adenosine triphosphate goes is when we are utilizing the imagination for the construction of time for its visitation. In other words, when we are thinking about the past and we are no longer present, we are using the power of the present to manifest a construct of time that has already occurred. It no longer is the present, but we are constructing it. And so it takes a lot of energy and a lot of currency to construct it consistently to where it is believable, to where we can collapse into that and live it out without even awareness that we're doing it. It takes a lot of energy. And so it also takes a lot of energy for us to use that ATP to think about a future scenario, visit it as a construct made in the mind of God through the imagination. What if this happens? I know you say you love me now, but what if you do this again? I know you say you promise, and I want to believe you, but what happens if you start to show those triggers again? What am I to do? Right? So we use the imagination for the construction of something that is not happening. And we entertain it as if it is. Not only that, we impress it upon other people by trespassing on their kingdom to say, they are that thing that I'm seeing that isn't actually real and is not happening right now. And because I'm showing them that through my story and giving this speculation, they must now bend the knee of their own kingdom to mine in subservience. Or I'm not going to feel safe. Or I'm not going to feel protected. And I'm not going to have faith, and I'm not going to have loyalty in anything that you say, right? Think about what this is. It's not anyone taking control over anyone else. It's people deciding when they're going to give up their infinite kingdom to someone who doesn't even want it. When you say, what if this happens? You are deciding that there is something outside of your control that is actually being made up through your own imagination. So that's trespassing on your own self. Start to impose it upon others, and it's a deeper form of trespassing. Start to believe it to be real. Anyone who doesn't see that they are aliveness walking will be influenced by it, sickened by it, and take it in like a contagion. Because they've made themselves a victim already. They are ripe for the taking, like any bacterial infection would occur in the body, exposed and vulnerable. This is why trespassing is such an important concept when it comes to the kingdom of heaven within. So where does this come from? This feeling of, I have to control what this person's doing. When they do these things, there's such a trigger, I can't take it anymore. If I see it one more time, then I swear it's going to be the end of me, or it's something, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you, if this happens one more time, this is the last time, right? Of course, the ego is living off of this because it orchestrated the entire thing. It orchestrated the entire thing. If it knows that we are in time, then it knows it has us by the strings. And it will manipulate those strings into getting us to believe that we're making advancements, that we're somehow in control, that we somehow have taken in our own power by subduing the enemy, by taking them to war, by forcing them to bend the knee. All we're doing is trespassing on a kingdom that's not ours. For all is available to us now. All of it. So how do we avoid trespassing? Is the big question on this day. Think of trespassing as any time you wish to control a situation before you, anytime you're saying no. Think of it as, I'm giving my infinite power to that. Is that capable of managing all of my wishes, all of my dreams, all of my desires? That thing that I'm saying no to, can it be a custodian of my life? If it's outside of me and it's causing me pain and suffering, and the answer should be an overwhelming no, a resounding no. This cannot be in charge of my infinite source of creation, nor would I ever think of doing it because they're so bad at their own life, according to what I'm seeing. I would never, ever place my power in their hands by demanding that they change in order for me to be comfortable, thus becoming their subject and slave. Think about it. You want someone to change? It's because you are their subject and slave, and you feel there's nothing that can be done unless they change. That's the same as a peon complaining that their king or ruler is not serving the populace. Ask not what your kingdom can do for you, but what you can do for your kingdom has come into being. Not as a peon, not as a slave, not as a subject, but as a ruler. And so there'll be days as a king or a queen where you see life situations unfolding before you that extremely upset you, and they look very unfair, and it doesn't feel right. That's to be granted. So when that happens, here's what a king or a queen does. They go into their castle, and they go to their high office in consultation with their senior partners, and they ask for them to truly show them what's going on. And while this is happening, they're getting a massage, they're having a good meal, they're having a good time. So as they can walk back out and give a rational answer to the world as to why this is happening without having any attachment to it. That's the same as living with your head in the sand and cotton in your ears here in this waking life. And I implore you to do it because you have your own kingdom, because you are a king, because you are a queen. You now know you have this domain. So step into your high council. You say, I understand this is a life situation. You don't have to say it. But you're saying in your mind, I understand this is a life situation, and it doesn't move me as much as I'm going for my getaway. I'm going to Bora Bora right now. I'm going to drink from the waters of Lourdes and find myself forever healed. I'm going to fly through the sky for my destined shores to be reached. I'm going to find myself making the most beautiful love to the perfect partner as many times as I want. I will be going to all these things, having the best meals, and I know if I were to explain this and show this to the world that is believing to be subjects to me, by giving me their power, they would despise me for it and usurp over it and overthrow me as much as they could. So I'm not going to share a single detail about where I'm going to the world at large until they can have a piece of it. And when they can have a piece of it, I'm not going to say, I told you so. I'm just going to give it so that they can have it. And then I'll make the note, this is also part of your kingdom. You have one within. I'll show you. It's called the imagination. This is how you use it. You don't say, I told you so, when the good stuff comes. When you shower people with abundance, it's because you wanted to do it. You say, I told you so, it's like in some way they owe you. They don't owe you shit. There's not a king or queen on this planet that owes anyone anything, in truth. They're coronated. So you as a king or queen, you don't owe anyone anything. You don't owe anyone an apology. You don't owe anyone any sort of explanation or reason, because your kingdom is not of this world. It's not subject to the same rules. There are rules in this world that we're all subject to, but they're not. The kingdom of heaven is not subject to them. It is not a subject to the external world. It is the king or queen itself that you become, not a subject. Okay? You're not a peon to this world. I'll say this again. You're not a peon to this world. You're not a subject to this world. This world is the result of your rule. This world is the result of your rule. This world is the result of your exercise of law. You become what you think about. That's the rule. That's how you rule. Come into your kingdom. Let's cross this bridge, okay? Send off all those beautiful wishes today that you've made for yourself out of self-love. Knowing that you bathed yourself in the oils of creation for the cells of your body to feel that respite. And now you know what comes to you is the byproduct of a good, happy, expanding kingdom. When your cells are happy, relaxed, and expanding, they ease up and they start to celebrate. And you get to reap the profits of big harvest, big celebration, big mining, big resources, because you've given them to every cell in your kingdom, every devotee, Whoa! Merle sent me a galaxy. That was perfect timing too, Merle. Thanks for that beautiful, generous gift. Everyone imagine that boomerang coming around for Merle Cantrell so that you can take part in its receipt too. Jennifer, thank you for the lightning bolt. And all of you people, someone asked if I still do ASMR. That was a question from yesterday. That's a synchronicity. I'm going to say it differently today. I really want to. I want to do an ASMR night. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I have it in my mind for all of you, okay? I wanted to say that to Beth yesterday because the answer that I gave her was pretty sharp-edged and was unnecessary in that way. Thank you, all of you. So I just want everyone to know that. And Beth, if you're here and you're watching, I want you to know I could have answered you with more compassion yesterday because all you were asking was, am I going to offer something that you believe is of value? And I should be honored that you find something like that here. So, TJ, thanks for the share. And once again, Merle, thanks for that huge, huge gift. We're just about at the end of our journey here for today, our sojourn. Short trip to the woods as the sun goes down.
How are you doing, Bill?
Good. I
just was bringing in the food now.
It's all good, thank you. I can help in whatever way. I'm almost done. Okay. That was my mom. She doesn't like to be on camera. I don't blame her. Robin says, I'm looking forward to today's replay. Thank you, Robin. I do have this now. We have enough battery? 14%, just in time. Just in time. Merle says, brother, I love your nature talks. Really, thank you so much for your brilliant gift. Moon Bear, thank you for your kindness. I want to catch up with everyone here. California says, I'm jealous you got more trees. Think about them being with you right now, my friend. Use that power. Ashley, thank you for the scale, for the kindness. Anka says, thank you. I always learn so much from you. You too, Anka. We're co-creating. TJ, thanks for sharing it with so many people, especially towards the end of this. Folks, thank you for the 47,600 love bubbles that you've sent up. I'm just so grateful to all of you. Lily, thanks for the heart puff and the roses, all this generosity. Moonbear asks what ASMR is. So it's autonomous sensory meridian response. It's a fancy word for I got tingles. So when there are certain sounds that I make like this, if you get up close, I go, whoa, Cass just sent me over a big gift. It tends to create, thank you, Cass, for this Tom's hug. It tends to create this tingling effect, and that's called ASMR. Yeah, it's just a fancy word for tingles, but it's a real effect, and it releases oxytocin in the body, which is a wonderful bonding and relaxation hormone. Edie, thank you for being so spiritous with me, with your kindnesses, and for asking where I am too. I know with innocence. Thank you for today, Edie. That was really kind of you. Lily, thanks for following with the heart and for your gifts. Brandon says, love you, Mom. There you go. Merle Cantrell says, brother, I love your nature talks. We got caught up here. All right, I think that's everyone. Thank you, everyone, all who said thank you. You are in your kingdom, Divine Mother. Indeed, I love seeing that. I believe 100%. Namaste. 57-year says, do you think it was wrong for me to get on SSI because I have mental problems in this world? No, I don't. But someone might. And all that is trespassing. If you believe it's something that you deserve and you want it and you feel good from it and it's a desire, then it's something that is manifest through your desire and feeling. But personally, as me, William, not like my opinion matters much, and it shouldn't when it comes to your power. But I don't think much in right or wrong anymore, as much as if you have your wealth and abundance, you are deserving of it. You're deserving of a wish-fulfilled life. I don't know your life situations enough to make any more of an opinion other than that. Okay, so we're talking about empathy. Had a phone call. Stand in your inner power. You are in the power. We got Robert Watt followed. We have star loving imagination turning into creation. It's wonderful. It's called manifestation. A lot of people talking to each other, which I love to see. Claudette, thanks for following. Okay, everybody. We're going to end the stream now. Gritty, thanks for following. All your love, everyone. I pray that I've answered your questions well enough for you to feel satisfied. If not, it's good practice for meditation. Just go to that place of wish fulfillment. 50K, there it is. I haven't seen that number in a long time. Grateful to you, Fatima. Thank you, Robin, for all that. Thank you for all these love bubbles. Have a wonderful evening, Cass. Thanks for your generosity. Brand on, great to see you. Great evening to you, my friend. Robin, thanks again. All of you, I love you. Star, thank you. Divine Mother, love you. Jennifer, thank you, love you. And so, this was funny. Jennifer said this and it got blocked. It's a funny statement. Most people talking about ASMR is people making out with their microphones. That's not a lie. Thank you, Kaz, for the level up, Sparks. Let's have a look at our yield from today real quick, okay? Someone's going to reach out to me. Someone's going to reach out to me so we can get these to people, okay? Just want to show you what we have here today. So we can get these healing stones into people's hands. I'll show you in a moment. Just bear with me. Mrs. Mogg, thank you. Let me send you a friend request right now before we end anything here. One moment here. Thank you, Edie, for saying that. Okay. Let me make sure, Mrs. Mogg, you get my friend request if we don't have it already. Where are you? Okay. Okay, I sent you a follow, Mrs. Mogg. Go ahead and drop me a message and we'll figure this out. Here's everything from today. I'm going to do this briefly so we can end the stream and I can get this saved. Okay, doesn't look like much from here, but these are all amethyst from today for the most part. And these will be going to Mrs. Mogg for distribution to the community of people who are here, along with everything else here from today. So this is all going to the community for healing, however it needs to be distributed, okay? We got a good chunk of beautiful stones with us today, all different types of amethyst. Good for healing, okay? Let's see, is that everything? There it is. Okay, this is the lot from today. Okay, so there's a lot to go around. Most of it is amethyst, some of it is agatized, all of it is healing, okay? So we're going to get these to you one way or another, everyone. I love you all. Great evening to you all. Thanks for being here. I'm signing off to save this video. I love you. Good night.